This video is for Nova Online Math 161 and we're reviewing for the final exam. The topic that we're looking at is graphing absolute value function using transformation. Use transformations to graph the function f of x equals -3 times absolute value of x plus 2 plus 5. So let's see how our function will move from the parent absolute value function. Start from inside this absolute value bar, okay? We have x plus 2. That adding 2 will shift the graph 2 units to the left. Okay? Next, we go out of the absolute value bars and we notice there is -3 multiplying. This will do two things, okay? Having that negative coefficient will reflect the graph across the x-axis. In other words, flip it upside down. And you notice when you're multiplying by like number like -3 or 3 or 2, anything bigger than 1, the graph will go down more rapidly. Well, the graph will, the y value will be much bigger, okay? So this graph will be narrower, okay? So I will also just kind of mention, and we will show this in the graph, but for this absolute value function, what I will do is I will go down 3 over 1 to the right, okay? That's not really the transformation, but that's how I will be using this -3 to graph the function, okay? So looking at that -3, I will go down 3 over 1 to each side, to right or left. Because remember, absolute value functions are symmetric. So if you go down 3 and go 1 to the right from the center point, you must go down 3 and also go 1 to the left from the center point. Okay. Lastly, I see there is that +5 outside. That will shift our graph up 5 units. So we have an idea of what this graph should look like. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start this by, well, this is a little too big. Let me make this a little bit smaller. Okay, XY axis first. X axis and Y axis. First, I will go 2 to the left. 1, 2. Well, I will then go up 5. Okay, I'll go up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that is where we will plot our very first point. Okay? And that point is at -2, 5. And after that, I'm going to go down 3. 1, 2, 3 over 1. So there's the second point right there. And that point is at -1, 2. So I know I will have my graph going down from that black point to that blue point direction. So that's one part of the graph. But I need to now sketch something similar to the other side, okay? Because the absolute value functions are symmetrical. So I will have to go down 3. 1, 2, 3. But I will go 1 to the left. And that point will have an order pair of -3, 2. I will connect the, and this guys, I think it's going to be much easier if we are actually using a graph paper to do this. So it was kind of difficult for me to kind of just sketch it on a blank piece of paper. But on your exam, identify those points that you are plotting, okay? If you can give this, okay, even though your picture is a little bit off, we will know that you are using the correct points. So I identified at least 3 points that are on this graph, kind of describe the transformation and how I used this coefficient to find 2 additional points. But this is how you can graph an absolute value function using transformation.